Hey folks, I'm recording this in my mostly empty old workspace. I say old because I'm moving to a new one. Listen, empty, isn't it? It's almost as empty as my soul's been for the vast majority of the time I've been working here. Gonna be glad to see the back of it, to be honest. Anyway, just wanted to update you on a couple of things before we start today's show. You may have noticed that our usual raggedy release schedule of trying to get one of these out each month has gone a bit kaput at this point. There's been some real life shit happening for a couple of us that's temporarily forced the show onto the back burner. But don't panic, it's a temporary lull. We have a couple of episodes in the bag that we're all just mucking in on and pedaling towards completion as and when we can. And we are planning to be recording on the regular as soon as it makes sense for everyone to be doing that. So there is new stuff coming. Stick with us. Also, if you're hearing this part of the message, it means you're listening to us on the audio pizza feed. In case you didn't know, on the TART feed, you get outtakes after the show. Are you seriously telling me that you don't want to hear an emotionally abusive rendition of Happy Birthday? Matt provides it. Are you really telling me that you don't want to hear the time that Garth got even more pissed than usual, so pissed that he started thinking he was Harry Potter on the night bus home? If any of that sounds interesting or horrifying to you, I'll take either. What I want you to do is press pause. Not yet. Listen to the rest of the instructions first, dummy. Go to your favourite podcast client, search for the Audio Roundtable, subscribe, and listen to the show there instead. Thank you. Here's episode 9. Hope you enjoy it. This is the Audio Roundtable session 9. Rolling.
Welcome to number 9 of TART's. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is, however it is. Hello. Today we have with us Satorna Howry. How are you, Satorna?
I am sleepy.
Sleepy?
But it's okay. I'm on the wrong side of the clock right now.
Turn the clock around.
Yeah. Well, I just need to be in Australia, right? Where it's morning and this is when I should be getting up. And then I would be good to go.
That's not funny.
Or in London where this is when I should be going to bed and then I'd be good to go.
You're in the middle of the afternoon. It's a beautiful time of day. Looking forward to evening drinks with your lovely husband. And life will be wonderful. So
evening drinks. There are better things than drinks.
Steady.
Yeah, right.
I thought we were making a concerted effort not to talk about that on the podcast.
It's not that kind of show.
I'm going to move right on from you to Mr. Matt McLaren. How are you, mate?
Are you still in your gym jams?
Basically. I had to go through a construction zone to get here, and for some reason all the roads are all closed off. And Indy did fine. He got through it all. I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on? It's 2 in the morning for this bullshit. What we got here? We're here. That was a boring story.
Oh, no. Look, what I think it highlights is the fact that you are the only one of us who actually gets out of bed and travels on a Sunday morning after a gig to record this podcast. And
yeah, you're amazing.
Absolutely fucking amazing.
Oh,
I agree.
Well done, sir. Especially before some other gigs.
thank you.
Scott.
Hello.
How are you?
Bundle of laughs.
I'm sad and hungover, and sad because I'm so hungover.
Fuck, this is going to be a long episode, guys.
I know. I don't know how this one's going to go, man. I feel like shite.
I should go just about as well as all the other ones, Scott, because
You're usually cranky about something.
he's usually cranky about something, but he has had a couple of cheery ones. Remember there was those mince pies?
Oh, that was weird. I didn't like it.
He kind of had a smile in his voice for a minute there, and I didn't know what to do with it.
But usually when I'm cranky, it doesn't come bundled with my insides feeling like they've been lined with crisps. So today's almost certainly going to be worse.
What were you drinking?
Brandy.
Oh, that stuff can sneak up on you.
What's wrong with you, British?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with brandy.
Yes, there is. There's so many better drinks.
Oh, that's true.
Like what?
Like gin?
Are you some sort of hipster?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alcohol Roundtable.
Put it in your face.
Fucking gin.
There is one extra person here. I don't know, it's a round table. It's getting slightly rounder. Derek Lane, how are you?
I'm kind of sad that I haven't been involved in something horrible to speak of so that I could act as overly excited as everybody else. So maybe that's something to be sad about, that I'm just here and hanging out and that nothing bad has happened yet.
It's only the beginning of the show.
Day's still young.
But you're alive. You're alive.
I am alive.
Yes!
I am alive and all is well, yes.
All is well with the world.
It is indeed.
I'm okay.
And welcome.
Scott,
Yo.
what the hell did you invite Derek for?
Me and Derek have been trying to start a thing, which is, I think, a really good idea. We've done enough of this thing to know that it's a good idea, but we keep fucking it up. So I wanted to bring Derek on to tell you about the thing. And then I thought maybe Garth could beat the shit out of us for a while, try and unravel why we keep messing up, and hopefully help us stop messing up the thing. So I shall now hand over to Derek, who's going to talk to you about the thing.
Just before you do, I'm a big, happy puppy dog who's not going to beat anyone up. So Matt and Saturn will have to take that mantle today. Derek, tell us about this thing that you can't quite get going.
So much bullshit.
Yeah, any faithful listener would agree. So Scott and I came up with this idea, which I called Work and Lurk. And it was based off of the fact that if you leave people like me to our own devices and say, oh, just do this project, just fix this or just edit this or mix this whenever you can. That whenever you can? Yeah, that could be a day or a month or a year, but it gets done at some point.
At some point.
But if there's an accountability, you're working with someone and it's kind of a thing that's going forward, then I'm more inclined to be, on top of it. And what comes out is usually pretty good. Leaving me alone, not so good.
So what you're basically saying is that you need some kind of external motivator. You can't self-motivate.
Yeah, because, I work from home, unlike Matt. I think Matt's the only one that doesn't work from home, right?
I think so.
That means that there are lots of things that are like, well, there was no deadline on this, so I can just kind of, do something. But if there's an external motivator, then I'm good. It's going to happen. And so I thought, well, let's see if I can find similarly minded people who, if you leave a project or whatever to their own devices, their own timeline with no real due date, see if I can find other people who have stuff just sitting around that never gets done or that barely gets worked on or whatever.
It sounds like you ask yourself, who do I know that's a useless bastard? And you came up with me.
That is exactly what I heard.
That is exactly my specialty.
I would love to come in here and rip you apart about why the fuck can't you just motivate yourself? But the reality is, the last 3 podcasts I have not got out on time. So.
Yeah.
And what's worse is that you have external motivators for it.
Yeah.
So where does that leave you? You're in all kinds of trouble.
There's no money involved.
Well, there's that too.
So you're sort of doing like a virtual office kind of thing.
Yep.
Where the two of you come in and each of you knows that the other one is there and presumably can hear the other one?
To a point.
To a point. Because there's a certain amount that you gotta,
Not here. I don't need to hear him mixing while I'm cleaning a piece of audio.
Yeah, not a good idea.
No. We talk about, and sometimes we actually do, meet at a scheduled time on a Team Talk server, but this could be done over Zoom or Skype or whatever, so it doesn't have to be Team Talk. And then we meet and we say, okay, so here's the thing that I've been putting off, and here's what I want to do over the next 2 hours. And then I set a timer for an hour. Timer goes off, we take a slight break, talk about what we learned, what was good, what was bad, what broke. And then we set a timer for another hour and we finish up. And I've gotten more work done in those 2 hours than some days, some weeks.
Hasn't this been going for a couple of months now?
It has, sort of.
On and off, yeah. We've been trying to get it going as a regular thing for a couple of months now.
But I'm okay because the times when it doesn't work, it's because we're actually working with someone else, at least in my case. And in your case last week, you were working with your drummer.
Yeah, it's mostly been like that for me as well. Like, honestly, I think scheduling is the main thing from my end.
Yeah.
I keep accidentally ending up with things that happen at the same time. And yet, for some reason, I don't.
Don't use a calendar.
Garth, that was exactly what I was going to say.
Well, no, I do use a calendar, but for whatever reason, I'm very stubborn about letting the calendar dictate to me, which is stupid because that's what a fucking calendar is for.
It's so you.
Unbelievable. So have you got a regular time? Have you just scheduled 9 a.m. on a Monday morning or whatever.
We've tried. We have tried.
Yeah. And we think we might have one, maybe.
Well, on that though, we've been trying to do Tuesdays. We've been trying to do, 1 p.m. for you, Derek?
Yeah.
Which is like 6 p.m. for me.
6 p.m.
On that, I have a gig this Tuesday.
Okay. Right.
It can totally still be done, but we probably need to go a little bit earlier in the day if you can do that.
You should just make it earlier in the day by normally. Like, just pull it forward 3 hours. 6 p.m., that's going to be a time when you're having dinner, you're going to have maybe a slight life. Move it into work hours. So
we could do maybe 10 or 11 here, so that
go
would...
10 for him, 3 for you.
10 and 3, yeah.
So
we could
3
try
in the
that.
afternoon. Do that.
Yep, I'm good with that.
If you're trying to make a genuine time that is like, let's get some work done, just go traditional. Go back into normal work hours.
I think that could be an important piece of it, yeah.
Because when this works, it's great. You know, there's a project I'd put off working on for a year, and I was sort of shaming myself for putting this off because it was a pretty cool thing, but then I showed the stuff to Scott in its raw form, and he was sympathetic to why I was putting this project off. But I'd put it off for a year, and during a work in Lurk, I got a fair bit of it done.
It's crazy how it works. It's like just knowing that somewhere in the world, somebody else has shown up and is eating some serious work makes it easy for you to eat some serious work.
Yeah.
It's like misery shared is misery halved or something.
It's also like having a client over your shoulder, though, in a way. Like, I know, like, I don't check Facebook when I got a client sitting in the studio with me. You know, like, you just get stuff done because there's that person sort of there. I work in a hub here, so there's all other businesses and stuff here as well. You know, sometimes we do similar sort of things. Like, you know, I'll get in the first thing in the morning, I'll have a coffee with someone, and we'll just chat about whatever. Just maybe one of the other studios here or whatever. And, you know, a guy I know pretty well does film, so he'd be working on a short film or something. And, you know, so what are we doing? And then we sort of meet back up at lunchtime that day and they go, where are you up to, you know?
But I think one of the things, too, that makes this work is that conversation about what it is that you're going to do, because that clarifies it for both people. And I think sometimes when we walk into a space, particularly if we're working out of our homes, there's sort of an isolationist kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so this is going to be Derek's goal. I'm not sure why, given that I seem to be the one that keeps fucking it up, but it's going to be Derek's goal. Derek, what's the goal?
The goal is to have a month of work and lurk sessions where I have at least one work and lurk a week, and that I get projects done that I've been meaning to get done.
So I have a question. Do you two want to stick to just the two of you, or are you open to having somebody else join you, or do you feel like that's too much?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. Why, do you want to join in?
Well, I'm just thinking if like there's two of you and, you know, oh, the schedule doesn't work or this doesn't happen, and maybe the time is a piece of it, but maybe it's like you just need a third person. Why do I think you need a third person? Well, because it would be fun, but also, I don't know. I think when there's two people, it's kind of easy to
Agree between you not to do it.
Yeah. Garth, jump in. You know, do you kind of get what I'm saying?
I do. I think if you joined in, that would be a definite motivator for both of them. That aside, if there's a third person there, if one of the others don't want to turn up, it's all right. So-and-so and so-and-so are still there. So it makes it easier for you to drop out.
See? That's why we hand it over to Garth.
Whereas if it's just the two of you, it's like, well, I'm fucking it up totally if I don't go.
So the third person is like a fail-safe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a good idea. Saturna, would you like to be our third?
Yeah, that'd be fun, actually.
And send me the invite. I won't show up, but I will hassle you before and after to make sure you fucking do it.
Okay. Let's do this.
Wicked.
Because it has just stuff I've been dreading. I just hit it and I did it. Like, I have these records from early NLS history, like from the early 50s, and I have two of the same book. It's an instructional record for one of the players, and on the other side, it's an Ed Murrow documentary on the history of library service for the blind. And both of these records are trashed. And I can do a fair bit to fix some of the damage on each record, but I had to play both records, and I'm stitching together an intact copy from both of the records, and I have to keep staggering which one is playing
Yep.
Sometimes I can go a minute or two without having to change which record's on the final restoration, but sometimes it's seconds. There's one point where they both skip around the same time, and I'm having to interpolate words between both copies to get the thing actually working.
That was where our last Work and Lurk session ended, right? Was just as you reached that point.
Just as I reached that point.
Oh my God, I'm going to join in just because I want to hear the documentary on side 2.
Yes, it's great.
Wow.
It's actually really cool. It's the 25th anniversary of the National Library Service program.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And it's got a bunch of narrators and stuff in it, talking about their experience reading for NLS and all kinds of stuff. It's
so cool.
It's going to be part of Brian Smart's Retro Blind project when it's done.
Wow, that's awesome.
Nice. So that's your goal for the upcoming sessions that we're going to do.
Yep.
Mine is a little bit less thought out. Like on Tuesday, the gig that I'm doing Tuesday night is stand-up comedy, first one I've done for a while. I quite like the idea of using my Work and Lurk on Tuesday to write that set, because then I'm not getting stuck in my overthinky type ruts. The one after that, I'm going to at least make a start on a mix that I've promised someone I would do months ago and just haven't gotten around to touching, because it's just like a mate type thing with no money attached to it, and I'm a terrible person. The third and fourth sessions, I'm not sure what they're going to be yet here, but we'll talk about it when we bring you back on to report how it went.
Sounds good. Oh, but Satana, what about you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the first goal is going to be getting my butt out of bed to be at a 10 o'clock session right now. I really am on the wrong side of the clock. I mean, I'm completely flipped over. Like my husband, when he's getting up, I'm going to bed.
There's better ways of avoiding people, man.
Whenever I have a client session, because sometimes I do have them in the morning, 10, 11, and I can get up and do it. And then I'm just kind of a zombie, and I'll get up and do what I do and go back. I don't know if it's a non-24 thing or if it's that I work out of my own space, and so I don't have that discipline of...
My sleeping pattern can be quite drifty if I'm not very, very disciplined.
Yeah. And the older I get, I feel like the more drifty it gets.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, I've been noticing a trend lately among some really high-achieving creative folks where they just sleep when they want to sleep, and they make sure that they crush the fuck out of working while they're awake. They deliberately don't try and discipline themselves to a schedule, which I'm really interested in exploring, but also... I kind of think that's not a very fair / social way to cohabit with someone. So I'm interested in whether you've noticed that it causes any problems or...
Tom and I have been together for 21 plus years, so I don't think he cares.
That's probably a good sign.
He's just kind of used to it. Like, this is me. I mean, from a work standpoint, I would say that it affects my relationship with Tom much less than it affects my work. Because even though I have clients everywhere, the lion's share of them are still on, U.S., Canadian kind of time zones. And so if I'm up at midnight, those people aren't really up. It's great for when I'm dealing with somebody like in Sweden and it's 3 a.m. my time and it's 9 a.m. their time, and, I'm on Skype with them and everything's fine. But for the people on this side of the pond, it is harder. And so then I feel like I'm disrupting myself even more because I'm agreeing to do sessions at times when I know that I really should be just not awake. But yeah. And then it rolls back around and I can hold on to it for a couple of weeks at a time. And then it just starts to kind of creep and creep.
It sounds like a non-24 thing to me.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, obviously.
No, and the only way that they seem to diagnose that is by saying, well, you're totally blind, you must have it.
Yeah,
Which,
exactly. That is the diagnosis, right?
Okay, then. I think some of it is definitely me.
So by the time we get to Work and Lurk on Tuesday, where do you think the clock's going to be?
I don't know. There are times when I feel like I can kind of reset it. I'm convinced that like non-24 may exist, but I think some of what happens with it is that I think there are an awful lot of people who are blind who are, because we have such high unemployment rates, right? We don't have to stick to a clock. And I think that's a piece of it. Maybe I'm not saying this well, but I think some of it is just me. Like, I just need to find a way to reset it and stick to it. And so maybe the Work and Lurk is a way to help do that.
And I think maybe scheduling multiple work and lurk sessions, maybe one a day with someone. Imagine the stuff I could get done.
Yeah, right?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of my long-term goal as well, is to open it up to more people than us once we've proved that it's helpful.
This is a workspace.
But then we got to make sure it doesn't turn into some party, where the breaks are like 30-minute conversations.
Well, yeah, we've already had a few of those kind of moments, haven't we, where we've been like, uh-oh, we're disappearing down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We need to...
We had our own sort of little mini TART sessions about random things.
Are they random or are they related to work, though? Because I would argue that, some of what goes on
They start out relating to work. Like you talk about mixing a song, and then you talk about, what's it like to actually work with the client who's like this? And so it just kind of skews off into its own little tangent if you're not careful.
Mm.
It's interesting, but if you've blocked off maybe 2.5 hours of time for your 2-hour work and lurk, allowing for a decent break between each hour where you could get something to drink if you need it, or, talk about your previous hour as much as necessary, things like that. But then your, one break is 30 minutes long. And that could happen if there's a whole crowd of people that are like, yeah, man, that's cool. That's great. Yeah, what about the blah, 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 blah,
Okay, so maybe the thing to do then is set the timer to dictate the length of the break as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, what if you did it in a 50-minute increment instead of an hour?
50 work, 10 break, repeat, and then bugger off home.
Yeah.
You're already at home.
Yeah.
Because we're not as cool as Matt.
Oh, God.
Sometimes I wonder if we could get more work done if we had a space. Like, I'm glad that my studio is a separate place in the house from, everything else.
Yeah, you're one step ahead of me already, man. I'm just like in a cluttered corner of a lounge.
I mean, there's not a lot of distractions that are accessible to me here. Now, if I make an effort to bring them in, of course there is. I can access my file server with all my dramatic audio stuff on it and whatever, and Twitter works if I'm not careful. There are opportunities for distraction, but not as many as if I were, say, working in a lounge area or something like that. That'd be tons of opportunity for distractions.
For me, the distractions aren't really the problem. For me, the two problems are starting and stopping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much able to tune out the fact that I'm in a lounge once I'm going, but getting going is fucking murder. And then knowing when to wrap stuff up and turn it back into a lounge is really hard for me.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, the whole timer thing, I've experimented loads with timers, calendars, all that kind of shit. And I'm just not disciplined enough yet on my own for those things to be effective.
You don't like being told what to do by a calendar or a timer?
I don't like being told what to do by anybody, to ridiculous extents. It is totally a character flaw.
That's why you love me so much.
Well, the timer is not sympathetic. Like, if you're working on something and you're about finished, the timer doesn't care. But if it's somebody that's kind of sympathetic with, okay, well, that's fine, the timer's going off, finish the thing you're working on, but within the minute, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when I fade up the mic, the timer has sometimes went for no more than a minute, but I finish up what I'm doing, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably tell him that the timer is going.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until just now.
I thought you were just dropping what you were doing, unmuting, and being like, stop, I've stopped, everyone stop.
Well, kinda, sorta, no.
Okay.
Oh, see, my thought process is that everybody would set a timer.
There's more accountability.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, somebody hasn't checked in, come on.
I like the thing of not having a timer here because if I'm struggling to focus on stuff, I think I'll be constantly checking that timer.
Don't put your phone anywhere near you. I don't make it an option. I make it very inconvenient to check the timer.
Okay.
I have to get out of the chair. I have to go to a different part of the room entirely.
Yeah, I do that too. I take the phone out of the booth and I put it across the room.
Yeah.
And I turn it up loud so that if somebody calls me, I can hear the ring.
Mm.
And I, when I add clients, I set up a certain ringtone so I know it's somebody I need to talk to.
That's so bloody obvious. Why have I never done that?
Yeah.
So here's another question. How do you guys calendar? Do you just use a regular calendar app?
Yeah, she's the Apple one.
Yeah. Because my problem is it doesn't, for some reason, tell me when things are coming up. Like tomorrow, for example, if I had something set, I'd find out about it the day of. So I actually have to put in 2 appointments, one for the day before and one for the day of.
Yeah, you have to add reminders to it manually.
You actually have to go to the event and set those manually, which really sucks.
Life is hard.
Well, you can do a reminder through Siri.
You can do reminders, but you can't do reminders for calendar events.
Not for a calendar appointment.
Okay.
Alert.
That's the one.
Let's call it an alert,
Yeah.
because that's what they call them.
Alert! Alert!
Because when I said remind me Tuesday at 1 p.m. of Work and Lurk, it says, I've scheduled remind me Tuesday Work and Lurk 1 p.m. for tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I'm like, no, that's not what I...
Siri hates you.
Yeah, apparently. So if I can...
Australian Siri is a lot smarter.
I think it's just Australians, man. So, Derek, quick summary.
Okay.
Tell me what's going to happen.
One Work and Lurk session per week where I get a whole bunch of projects done that I've been putting off for way too long.
And that's going to be on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time.
Yes.
Yes.
Woohoo.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Exciting.
Well, Mr. Derek Lane, thank you very much for having actually what is really quite a cool idea, which I kind of wish I could be involved in, but no, I won't be. Because that's probably like
Definitely too late at night.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you could always have another Work and Lurk at another time.
Yeah.
And get some of us on to see how the editing of TART's coming along and things like that.
Yeah, we can explore that down the road.
You could do an Australian work and lurk that's smarter than the standard work and lurk.
You know it.
I'm not committing to anything right now.
Until Scott talks about the money, right?
Yeah, okay, actually after that episode, yep, I'll be all over it. I'll all over it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep.
And there we have our music. Our little... Saturna, your turn. What's going on?
Well, I have to thank Vinny Padula, who a few months ago, I don't even remember when it happened and I can't find the original message. I don't even know if it was on some group or if he sent it to you, Garth, or whatever. I just know that I got it. And Vinny was talking about this podcast, talking about each of us and kind of how the round table personalities come together. And his description of me was, and then you have Satana, who's shot out of a cannon.
Yes, that's right.
And I remember hearing this and thinking, I don't really know if that's supposed to be a compliment or like if that's, or if that's
Totally
a good
For
thing.
you it is, I reckon. For you it totally is.
So I was talking to my husband about this one fine Sunday morning, and we're sitting in the living room on the couch with the cats just having this conversation. And I said, I think it's a pretty apt description of me. Like, it's kind of spot on. And we just started bantering back and forth about how that could relate to my branding. And Tom's thought was, shot out of a cannon. Wow, that's it. It's like a circus cannon and you're coming out of it. And somehow in the chorus of 20 minutes, we came up with my tagline for my voiceover work, which is my voice, your message, bullseye.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. So thank you, Vinny. Because I've been doing this work for 6 years and I haven't had a logo or a tagline or, I've been sort of struggling with who am I? What is it that I do? What's, if I had to clarify a niche or something, what would it be? And that shot out of a cannon thing got us thinking about the targeting. And there's so much corporate work I do where there's all of this talk about data analytics and insights and market trends and targeting your market and all of this kind of stuff. And so this tagline came out of it. And then it was like, all right, well, now we have to come up with a logo that goes with it. So my husband sort of made this crude sketch. I think it looked more like a business card with the tagline in it. And his initial thought was to go with a single graphic designer. And my thought was, well, I'm blind since birth. I have no concept of colors or backgrounds. I know nothing. I mean, I feel, at least that's the story I tell myself. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing visually. I decided rather than go through a single graphic designer, I would go to 99designs.com and run a contest.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
99designs.com. Yep. They'll do, web design backgrounds for you. They'll do business cards, logos, book covers, you name it.
So how many entries did you get?
We got a lot of entries that were from the same people. So you'd have, a designer submit multiple designs. So all total, I think we had 62.
Holy shit, that is a lot of options.
Well, so here's what happened, though. My first hurdle with running this contest was that 99 Designs wants to ask you things like, so, if you look at these 10 designs, which styles do you like? I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this. Okay, well, if you don't want to deal with styles, move the slider bar and tell us if you want classic versus modern, or, I can't remember some of the other words. Playful versus, stodgy comes to my mind, but that's not the word they use.
I like playful and stodgy. Those things always have to be combined for me.
Yeah. So, they asked you things like that, and, that was doable. That was more doable than, look at this design. Do you like this one? I have no idea. So I got the contest up. You get to write a brief about, what it is you're doing. I guaranteed the contest, which means that they won't give you your money back even if you don't choose a winner.
Right.
And I chose to do that because these are all freelancers.
Yeah.
And as a voice artist, I totally get that.
That is a cutthroat way to do things, isn't it? Like, you do all the work and you may or may not get paid.
Well, every audition is a risk, right? You have no idea.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
And then you've got clients that put you on a short list and they're like, okay, well, you're one of 3, so can we have an audition of this script? I wanted to guarantee it because I felt like people were going to put some effort and time in, and somebody should end up with this money.
Yeah.
And also, I called their support, and you actually get a real person.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
So I was able to upload this crude sketch of what my husband had done and give a brief of what I wanted, and then we started getting designs back. And then this is where it gets interesting, because this is where I picked up the phone, called Ira, and started asking for feedback.
Fun.
And on 99 Designs, you can do a poll where they send you a link, and you can share the link on Facebook with your friends and all that kind of stuff, and everybody can kind of vote and comment and stuff like that. And I didn't do that because my concern was that I was going to get really sort of rudimentary comments. Oh, I like that. Thumbs up. Just comments that weren't clear enough and didn't give me any information about what people were looking at.
It's not stodgy enough.
Too playful.
I like that. So I called Ira and started asking, okay, what do these designs look like? I would talk to one agent, get feedback, and then I would say, okay, I'm going to hang up with you and I'm going to call back. Don't pick up because I want a different person. And the first agent would put a note in the Slack channel. Ira uses Slack.
Yep.
And say, all right, this is what Satana's doing. So I would talk to a few people. And then, of course, I still was engaging people like my husband and my daughter. And the more I did it, the more I sort of understood what questions to ask. And with this feedback, I was able to take the information that I was getting, and it gave me great descriptions of the designs, and it also gave me information about what to tell the designers so that they could iterate and make it better. And that's what this contest allows you to do, and that's why we got 62 designs, because not all of them were, they don't do it with one round. You go through multiple rounds. You go through an initial round, which lasts 4 days, and you pick the designs that you like throughout that round, and they can iterate throughout that round, and then you pick your finalists. And that lasts another 3 days. And those finalists, again, can keep iterating. And then by the time you're done with that, you pretty much have a winner.
What an interesting process.
Yeah.
I'd never thought of doing it that way.
It was pretty amazing. You can also thumbs up, or you can give the designs stars, so you can rate them, and then you can filter based on those ratings. So what I was doing as this process went along is, rather than having Ira agents look at 29 designs, we would star the ones that we liked as we went along, and then filter so that the people I was talking to would only be seeing 3 or 4 at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like an overwhelming amount of data.
But what else is really incredible about it is that you get Ira agents who have skills. I got somebody right off the bat who does graphic design on the side.
Okay.
And I showed her my husband's sketch, and I know what my daughter said about it. But what this agent said was basically the same thing my daughter said, was, well, this looks like it's something done before the days of the internet. She had words for it, which I don't have in front of me, but she basically corroborated what my daughter said.
I guess that's a strong thing, right? Because this is all subjective to a point. But if you've got people who don't necessarily share taste, and they're still confirming the same opinion, then it's like, okay, that's less subjective. That seems to be like a thing I can actually take away.
But that was the amazing thing throughout the whole process, is that I would get people who liked certain elements, like over and over, certain elements would pop up, or over and over, certain problems would pop up. And it was like, wow, if you pull enough random people, you really do get some consistent data points. And that was fascinating to me.
That's really interesting, because I would have expected pulling from more people to increase the level of subjectivity and therefore the level of confusion. But you're actually telling me the opposite.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you just got some of the same stuff coming up over and over and over again that was able to be fixed or able to be, used more effectively, and it was really cool.
Wicked.
That's amazing.
It is. I've just been using my mate Gabriel for everything, but I think he might have just lost a gig. Sorry, dude.
Because it is so hard to do, like I know what you're saying before, Satana, about not understanding the concept visually or anything about any visual concept. Makes it really hard to even say, what do I want? I know I'm trying to target this market, but what looks good, what looks right to target that market? That's really challenging, and that can be a bit of a stopping point for me anyway. It's like, I just won't do it then.
Yeah, it's totally been a stopping point for me. Yeah.
Put it on the back burner.
And as I went through this, it was bizarre, because in the first few days, nothing really came up about the background. And all of a sudden, I had this other woman who was a graphic designer who said, white backgrounds tend to be more appealing to women, and black backgrounds tend to be more appealing to men.
Huh.
Really?
And I was like, wow, I have no idea where she's getting this data, but she was also talking about how a lot of business cards have a white background, and if you put this logo on a black background, then you got to change the whole business card. And I thought, oh my God, I hadn't even been talking to people about whether they like the white or the black, or what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
So that question sort of got added in. And when it was pretty close to being said and done, I had sent this to my web designer guy and had a phone conversation with him. And he said, well, just make sure that they give you one of each. Because, this woman told me that, for Apple, the podcasting space that Apple has is a white background. And so then I was like, oh, well, gosh, if I ever do a podcast, I'm going to need this white background.
Yeah.
But then I was getting all these people who were like, well, that may be the case, but we like dark business cards. We like business cards that don't have a boring white background, because so many of them do. So when you have business cards that have a different background, they really catch your attention. I was like, oh, crap. Now, what am I going to do? I have all of this great information. So then, there were moments where I was just like, oh, my God, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do.
Well, that's what I've always felt like with this sort of stuff. It is just so overwhelming, because people do tell you all conflicting stuff. And it is that's a great example, because that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
Someone will tell you one thing, then someone will say, but this is better, though. This looks better. Or whatever. You're like, shit, well, how do I deal with that conflicting information? I have nothing to go one way or the other.
Yeah. But ultimately, when I called up my web guy, he was like, well, look, we're going to just get one of each, because on the web, we might have the white one. On the business card, you could have the black one, and it doesn't matter. He's like, the background is like a non-issue. You're going to change it depending upon the place that you put it in anyway.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize.
So what did you actually end up with?
So it's my name, and my first name is in sort of more of a cursive kind of font. My last name is below it in more of a standard font. And in my last name, Howery, the crossbar of the H underlines the entirety of my first name. I can't remember now if it's my first name or my last name. Isn't that terrible? I have no memory of this. And it underlines the name and goes all the way to the end of the name. And then there's a bullseye there in red. And the tagline is somewhere in this logo. My voice, your message bullseye is in there.
If I was an Australian, I think I would describe that as pretty schmick.
There you go.
Schmick. Nice.
Schmick. Matt said that last time.
I'm setting trends. That's what I do.
Worldwide phenomenon now.
Yeah, there was a lot of time where we had designers that were putting the bullseye in the letter O in my last name. And that was really popular for a while. But there was a lot of people saying that when you looked at my last name, your eyes were drawn to the bullseye and not to the end of my last name. And if you have somebody that doesn't know you, you want them to know your name. So we took the bullseye out of the O and put it at the end instead.
Okay.
And there was a lot of discussion of fonts. Some of the designers were pretty sort of artsy-fartsy with it, and you almost couldn't read my first name with some of them because they got too playful, I guess,
Yeah, right.
too artsy with it.
Yeah, I guess it is quite an unusual name, isn't it? It's not like Sarah.
I was going to say Sarah too. How random is that?
So there was this whole thing about readability and all that kind of stuff. but it's done.
That's exciting.
And one of the things that pushed me is I'm sort of redoing my website, and my web guy wrote and said, look, I'm not going to design your site until your logo's done, because there could be colors and things that I want to know about that I'm going to use on your site that would inform the branding and the stuff that we do. So finish the logo. So then it was like, oh, but I want this website done. I'm so frustrated. So then I had to finish the damn logo. So now it's done, and I should have homepage mock-ups by early next week.
Sounds like a bullseye to me. We can't end on that. That's awful.
The worst joke ever.
I think the thing for me was that it was a great way to use Ira and a great way to use Ira Small Business, because all of those minutes were not my minutes. They were all free minutes. So that's it. That's my story.
All right, Scott. You mentioned at the beginning of the episode that you were a little sad, you got pissed last night, you're feeling crap now. What happened, man? What's the story?
I've done it again. I've left my band in a much more civilized way than how I left the last one. But I am sad about it. I've been playing with these people for like 11 years. And it's a big change, man.
Yeah.
And you did just release a really good album too.
Yeah, I left on release day, which, you know me, I don't like to do things the easy way.
No.
I'm fairly sure I will have some shit to say about it at some point, but without wanting to overly dramatize it too much. It's sort of like that thing where someone dies and it hasn't really sunk in yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I know I'm sad about it, but I'm not exactly sure what the takeaways are. So I think maybe I'll sit on it for a bit. I might talk about it whenever I've figured out what the takeaways are.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I need to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do next, because I genuinely have no idea. So that's kind of my goal for this month. It's fairly sort of open-ended and softy. But hopefully by the next episode, I'll at least be able to say, I think I'm going to have a stab at this or that or the other.
That's pretty exciting though, because you can do anything.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit, Scott!
Yeah.
Go for it, man!
Kind of.
Jesus Christ. Shut out of a cannon.
But I think the thing is, like, because I can do anything, will I do anything? You know what I mean?
Too many choices?
Way too many choices.
Choice overload.
Yeah.
But you are doing something. You're going to do this comedy thing on Tuesday.
But I'm talking about specifically musical output.
Oh, okay.
Because I do want to keep my hand in some way. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but I don't want to stop making original music.
Well, we will look forward to hearing that next month and hearing more about what you figure out. Maybe you'll have to use a work and lurk session to...
Yeah, no, I think Kim's going to get it in the ear on this one.
Yeah. She's going to love that.
Mm-hmm. Lucky girl.
And on that note, let's wrap up today's audio roundtable. Thank you, Saturna. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Derek, for being here until we told you to fuck off. If you're not convinced that you want us to fuck off, and you do want to send us some feedback at theaudioroundtable.com. Thanks for listening.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. I'll try not to be too much of a mother.
What's that even mean?
I don't know. That was definitely better than my bullseye joke.
Most things are.
Yeah.
Ravens are fled. the name of the dead, the girls return again. The eyes are led astray through the air. Our words reenacted and a judgment to face from the start. From the start, I'm never distracted by the oath that you made to depart, to stop me from begging for the thrill to write. Stop me from bringing up the dead to life. I want to free you, but you are the reason why. Memories will fear you, my heart refuses the fire. I heard the mayday, but at last I'm not the not the blame. I heard the mayday, but at last I'm not the not the blame. Not the blame. Not the blame.
Yay, we did it.
That was civil, wasn't it? That was civilized.
I don't know about this yet because I haven't got the multi-tracks, but I might play out with a tune from the release show if everyone's all right with that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh, cool.
Hi, it's Scott from the future. I don't usually interrupt the outtakes like this, but that didn't happen, did it? I'm editing the show and I just realised, oh shit, I haven't even downloaded those multi-tracks yet, let alone mixed them. So instead, I played you out with the title track of the record. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do us a favour, go and buy it. TheMarianaHollow.bandcamp.com or iTunes or Amazon Music, whatever service you like, it'll probably be on there. Don't just stream it though and feel like that's doing enough, because it's not, right? The singer's just had a child. She's not going to be able to raise a child well on Spotify royalties. She doesn't stand a fucking chance. Also, Richie, one of the guitar players, he pretty much only eats soup nowadays. I mean, he says he's given up everything else for dietary reasons, but I think it's because he can't afford to eat real food. And he does what he can to keep the cost to a minimum. I mean, he owns a soup maker. Who the fuck owns a soup maker? But that guy is huge. He's colossal. It takes a lot of soup to fill him up, and that's not his fault. So go and buy the fucking record like a decent person would. Thank you.
On.
I am on.
Sweet.
The clock is moving.
So who am I throwing to? Scott and Derek first, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
What are we on? Session 9. Fuck.
Yeah, already.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
You think we'd have realised it's a bad idea now, wouldn't you? But no.
You'd think we would have come up with some kind of process for recording too. But
I wouldn't think that'd be the case. We're stubborn as fuck.
This is it, Garth. This is the process. Enjoy it.
No Squadcast or Zencast or any of that nonsense.
Oh shit, no. Oh no, I don't care about that part of the process. So just more like, actually, let's get properly organised before the morning.
No.
Oh, I've never been blessed to be a part of the podcast that's organised. Ever.
Good, you'll fit right in.
I don't think they exist. This American life, maybe. That's it. Everybody else is just fucking winging it.
Ted's pretty good. They've kind of got their thing, but
Yeah, they irritate the shit out of me now, though. It's too faux positive.
Welcome
At least
to
for my
episode
taste.
number 9 of the... I'm just starting, man.
oh wow, there's an outtake for the end.
Beautiful.
It's all right.
Welcome
Go
to...
magic. I did it again.
I'm in with a good crowd because I don't have to be super
Anything.
from the top. Pressure's off. Cool.
Oh, on the money thing, I have a very, very tentative plan about a way to monetize this thing.
Ooh.
Cool.
We'll talk about it on a future episode.
Next time.
Probably like 2-3 more episodes, I reckon, and then we'll turn on the money hose.
Are we getting t-shirts made up, Scott?
I want the t-shirts, actually. I would actually...
One of the ideas is a t-shirt, yes.
Merch. Yes. Very cool.
It starts there, and then it goes completely off the fucking rails from that point onwards.
Love it.
Is it merch like a Bluetooth speaker that's a centerpiece of a table and they're decorative things that you can put?
No, it's way weirder.
All of the shirts, no matter what's on the outside of the shirts, will need to have a picture of Matt's face on the inside. for the card hall callback.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thanks for talking. It was really interesting. That sounded shit, didn't it? Excuse me.